Okay, let me get in place. I've had my Baja for, hell, how long has it been? Probably about a month. Month and a week, I can't remember exactly. Overall, it is a very fun vehicle. But there are a couple things that you are going to have to pay attention to pretty much immediately. First things I'm going to go over, it's a great vehicle, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love it. But like I said, there are some problems. I have a tuned pipe on mine. They don't come with a tuned pipe. You have to buy that separately. The stock cans are very restrictive, as are the stock air filters, and I'll go over all of that. I'm also going to go over fuel to use. I'm going to make a second video of my DVXL. But the first thing is tires. Your front tires are very good. I haven't had a single problem with them, except they don't have as much traction as I would like, especially on-road and stuff like that. If you do on-road and off-road, on-road they don't have a lot of traction, especially when you get on the gas. The braking system is very weak, even if you put a high torque servo on it. It only has a brake. All it does is brake on the rear wheel, so you need to get a braking system for the front. I have it, I just haven't installed it. The wheels, the stock wheels, they are called, what the hell are they called again? Dirt busters. They are absolutely pieces of shit. One of mine ripped. They're very flimsy. They don't seal very good. They have some pins, some square pins. They wear out very quickly. They do not track straight at all, even off-road. So I decided to get some King Motor off-road tires. Very good price, and the tires are very good. I will say the foams inside of the tires are decent. They don't balloon a lot, even at full speed, but again, there's a problem with the full speed. The stock air filters are made up of two elements. You have an inner and an outer. I actually have an entire. This is what it looks like if you take it off completely, if you take it off the motor. And these have to be oiled and cleaned a lot, especially if you run in sand, dirt, stuff like that, because the dirt and the sand is going to get inside of them. So if you run in dirt or sand, as soon as you're done, change this. Also, one of the first things you are going to want to get is a fuel filter. Here is the entire filter assembly that bolts up to the carburetor. There is a little thing that wraps around to hold everything in place, because this just slides on and off. I have an extra one. I bought all of this for $500. It has upgrades on it, like the tune pipe. Came with the air filter, but a lot of people think that this clear tube, the clear tube is the return line. You put the air filter on the black tube, because the black tube is what feeds fuel to the carburetor. That is where dirt can get inside your fuel tank, and you need something to protect your carburetor, the needles, the seats for the needles, the valves. You got a lot of stuff in it. You even got the fuel pump that works off of the sonic pulses that come off the motor. The dog bone pins, they are also a very big problem, because you have all that. This one has a 29cc engine. This was a kit version that someone put together. They put it together wrong, so I fixed everything. Has some upgrades like the metal toe links which some parts have come loose, so I'm gonna have to fix that. I didn't get one that was stock. This is actually a flux body. I'm actually debating just completely getting rid of it. But I will say, with the air filters, they are very restrictive. You get a lot of low end torque, but when you get to your top speed, it will start sounding like it's gargling, like it's underwater. That's because the engine is getting more fuel than air. These come with Walbro WT668, I believe. Carburetors, I believe that's what they're called. I'm going to get a WT990 with ball bearings installed for this and my DVXL. I'm going to do a video on it after this one. But the dog bone pins, the biggest problem is I have a stock one and one that I made. You can basically take a, let's see if I can find it. Take a 5/32 drill bit. Cut off the part that doesn't have the flutes. It's supposed to be 20 millimeters. I actually make it 21, 22 millimeters, so there's extra space for the load to be spread out. But this is one pin. You can't see it from here, but there are no flat spots on either end. That is what these are known for. The first time I ran it, one of them actually ended up shearing off completely. This one is actually bent and has a very bad flat spot right here. Once the flat spots get on both sides, you're going to have to cut it off in order to get it out of the dog bone. And also, if you make your own, you're going to have to Dremel the grub screw flat spot. The gearing with this, I believe, is 1955 or 57. I can't remember exactly. Very good gearing. When it's tuned perfectly and with a tuned pipe, I have the King Motor Thor pipe. It's more for to get the low end torque out of the motor. Works great, and it shoots the exhaust straight back, so it's like an actual car. It's actually a pretty cool vehicle. I mean, a pretty nice pipe, and as you can see, it wraps around. So I think it has one expansion chamber. But I am going to get a King Motor, a DDM Dominator to put on it, just to see what the difference is, and they actually spit the exhaust out the side. With these motors, don't cheap out with your oil. OBR, O'Neill Brothers Racing. The oil, the two-stroke oil that they recommend for racing engines, and a couple other, some say mercury quicksilver, but the people that make the racing two-stroke engines say use Maxima Castor 927, excuse me. It is a high-performance two-cycle racing formula. If you get the stuff at Walmart, the problem with it is you have some two-strokes that are water-cooled and some that are air-cooled. A fifth scale two-stroke engine is air-cooled, so it is going to get hotter. If you don't get the correct oil at the higher temperatures, if you get a water-cooled, a two-stroke oil that is meant for a water-cooled engine, it will start breaking down because air-cooled engines get up to a higher temperature, all the way up to possibly 300 degrees. You're also going to need, basically what I got with this was a mixing can, but you also need to know how much oil to put in. I run 25 or 28 to 1. 25 to 1 is for every 1,000 milliliters of gas, always use 93 octane gas. Use the best octane gas you can get. If you can get 97, use it. But on one side, this is a very small little measuring cup. I use it for only one thing, and it is for mixing gas and oil. It has milliliters. So for every 1,000 milliliters of gas, I add 40 milliliters of oil. So that is a 25 to 1 cc. 25 to 1 deal. It's a very fun vehicle. I have not broken any parts. As long as you don't get stupid with it. It has an aluminum chassis from front to back. I don't like the fact that the differential box is plastic, but the gears in this is the SS version, the Super Sport. So the gears inside the differential gears and everything are metal. I've heard that some of these came with a 23cc, maybe a 26cc. But the 29cc on this, a lot of power. I've actually already had to buy a second spur gear because the power sort of damaged the plastic spur gear. I am going to go to a metal one. Tight funds right now, starting a new job tomorrow, so that's why I'm getting these videos done today. What else do I need to go over? Make sure with your throttle and brake servo, I had, when I got it, it had a cheap ass Futaba, and God, it was such a piece of shit. It had no brakes. I mean, it took about 20 feet for it to come to a stop. The one I have on it now is a Savox. I believe it's the 0251 metal gear. About a $35, $45 servo. Does great. I mean, you can always go up from there, but for $35, $45, you can get a great servo, and then you can really spend your money on the steering servo, which is, you're going to have to buy a 5th scale servo, and they cost upwards of $100 for a good one. Battery packs. Always get a good nickel metal hydride, preferably LiPo battery pack. Right now I'm running nickel metal hydride in both of my 5th scales, but I am going to move over to the Killer RC, I believe it's 7500 milliamp hour 2S. The servos can take it. A lot of people actually run them. But yeah, as I said, the main things are the dog bone pins, the tires, the rear tires. The rear tires are pieces of shit. Air filter. I actually have a racing air filter coming with a velocity stack. Invest in a outerwear, pre-filter to go over it. It will filter out the more fine particles. I've got one here, I've got two over there, a black and a red one for my DBXL, which I'll be doing a video on it after this one, just to get them done with, get them uploaded, so I can go ahead and get all this stuff done and not have to worry about getting the videos. But like I said, very fun vehicle. I'm going to be doing a hell of a lot of upgrades, turtle racing, snapper clutch, because it has little to no slippage. The people that use it, they only see maybe extra 15 degrees compared to the temperature of the engine. There is a lot of heat that builds up in the clutch bell and most of these come with a plastic clutch bell carrier. If it gets very hot, that plastic will warp. So also, if you can, invest in a metal shock bell carrier. Wow, what else? I haven't used them yet, but I got some E3 Diamond Fire spark plugs. I've heard some people say they work great, a lot of extra power. Well, not a lot, but extra power because it creates a stronger spark. These engines run off a magneto system. There is a magnet on the flywheel, and as it spins, it goes past a coil, and the magnets passing it creates an electromagnetic field, which creates a spark, which sends spark up to this spark plug. I'm running a tall spark plug because the one I had flooded out. I ran to the auto store and just got an auto light. It works, but definitely going to be putting in a different spark plug because that's too tall. If I flip it, it'll break off. Make sure I go over everything. So, like I said, it's a very tough vehicle. If you want to, the best thing I would say to invest in immediately is tires, air filter, fuel filter, an outerwear cover, pre-filters for the pull start, which I have one on here. Made by Outerwears. I have a DDM Racing pre-filter for the air filter. Possibly a metal spur gear, FLM Forever, or there's a lot of different people that make dog bones for these that are a lot stronger than the stock ones, because the stock ones are very known to get flat spots and shear off. I sort of cheated and I used 4mm 5/32 drill bits. So like I said, cut them down, cut the grub screw gear in it, slot in it, put it in, tighten it down, and you're good. Make sure you always use, I don't use red Loctite, I use blue. Red is for something that you want to stay in place for good. I don't know why someone would use red Loctite on something like this. Any type of RC, you don't use red Loctite. Because if you go to try to take something out, you may strip the screw head, and then, oh shit, you can't get the screw out. You're going to have to bust out the Dremel, cut a flathead, cut a groove in it, so a flathead screwdriver, and then you're going to damage something else because you got to cut that groove. But all the electronics are up front here. You have everything. You have a radio box. I'm not going to take the body off. It's sort of a pain in the ass, but the radio box and everything, it has the 2 servos connected to it, so you can basically unplug the linkages and pull the entire radio box out. I have all the upgrade parts, all the aluminum linkages, adjustable linkages. Like I said, I got this for a hell of a deal, $500, and it was brand new. I had, before I even bought it, I took the exhaust off and I took the spark plug out, and there had never been any fuel in it because the piston was still clean. And when they run, carbon starts to build up. So that's basically it with the Baja. Like usual, got any questions? If you like videos like this, subscribe. My next vehicle is, well, I've got a couple vehicles I'm getting next. A Armanero, a Losi 5T, a Vecta 5 by Kraken, because that is actually known right now as the best 5th scale off-road vehicle. Reviews for it are just amazing. What else was there? Shit. Oh yeah, a RS5 Model Sport. I definitely want an on-road. I don't want a Losi Mini. I want an RS5 Model Sport because it's better for racing, and they come with aluminum chassis that they're better, and you can get, there's a lot of extra parts. Even with the Losi Minis, you can get all that stuff. I don't want a mini body on that. I want to put a Corvette body or something like that. Something that actually looks 5th scale. And I mean, ever since I've gone to 5th scale, this is where I'm staying. I may go to 8th scale, but no more 10th scales unless it is either a steel or a very rare car, like, I'll get it real quick. This right here. This is pretty much my pride and joy 5th scale. These you cannot find anywhere right now unless it's used. This one is used very little. This is the HPI RS4 Sport 3 Flux. HPI continues to say that they're going to re-release it, but still to this day, it's been about, I ended up going to my hobby shop, which I have to drive, it's an hour, so it's about 65, 70 miles to get there. And he had one, so I immediately scooped it up because I know how hard they are to find. I also have the drift version, which, I mean, you can convert that over, but from the factory, it's not this. These, I've been told by many people, even when I bought this, these are going to be collector's items because they are so damn hard to find. I've got the high speed gear set on this. It has already gone over 100 miles an hour. It's hard for me to, I will go ahead and say, I don't do a lot of running videos because I'm usually out by myself. I have a GoPro with a head mount, but then I have to edit the video, and that takes a little while. I just haven't really got around to doing that. I was going to do it with my DVXL last Tuesday, but I got out, got everything ready to go, and went to turn on the receiver box, and somehow, I guess, it had to have been me because nobody else touched it, but it was left on, so no fun, and I was pretty damn pissed, to say the least. But that's the HPI Baja 5th scale, the 5B, and my pride and joy 10th scale. So, like usual, got any questions, comments, anything you'd like to say, you're going to see more vehicles like this. My next is probably going to be the Armanero with a diff brain. I love that because I will never buy another Traxxas product in my life. Just to keep things short, the reason I got rid of my X-Max. Well, actually, I'll do that in the DBXL video, the start of it, and then go over to my DBXL. But this is the HPI. I'll even turn it around so you can see both sides. Everything works great. I have it set so when I get off the gas, the brake sort of grabs a tiny little bit, not much. So that is the HPI Baja.